It can only be attributable to human error.
You're entering paranormal.
He meddled in things that you
Where will we go next? This phantom from another time.
No one but the mother.
That's it, man. Game over, man. Game over.
That is one big pile of shit.
Hello, everybody. My name is Alex Daikaiju. To my left,
Jasmine with.
and across from us,
Eli Watson.
and you're listening to
Cryptid Campfire. I led it this time, okay?
Yes, you did. Good job, Eli.
I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to hear it.
All right, well, that's the end of the episode. Thank you for coming, everybody. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, we want to welcome you to Cryptid Campfire. If you do have been listening to us, we talk about cryptids, do our own independent research, get together. Today, we're starting part 1 of a 2-part series, Dogmen and Werewolves.
Mhm.
Werewolves.
Werewolves.
Werewolves?
Werewolves.
Volvolfins.
They're pretty similar creatures, but there is a distinct difference. So
Mhm.
this part 1 is going to be the Dogmen, and the next week we'll talk about the
But
werewolves.
what is the difference?
Yeah, what is the
Yeah,
difference?
I generally will ask, what is the difference? Because my research, I didn't really find that much.
Aha. Well, I'll tell ya. A dogman. Okay, so a werewolf is a person who turns into a wolf,
Mm-hmm.
typically, a la a skinwalker,
Oh.
or in the
or
full
a Lon
moon.
Chaney Jr.
yeah, like him, or Benicio del Toro, or we could just name them all.
Oh, let's do it.
And a wolf man, does not transform.
Dogman.
A dogman.
A dogman does not transform.
Right, it's dog-ish at all times. It doesn't switch between forms. It's always its canine appearance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good
yeah,
to know.
and sometimes they fight Bigfoots.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Ooh, we're gonna dive into it.
right now.
Sounds saucy.
But I mean, in terms of sightings, it's really. Can you tell the difference? Because I mean, how do you tell a dog man? When you see it, is it someone who's already turned into a werewolf, or is it a dog man who's constantly a dog?
Or is it a hellhound from hell?
This is one hell of an episode.
That's a good point, though. I mean, really the only way you'd be able to distinguish which one you're looking at is if you see the transformation happen
Mhm.
right in front of you, which there is apparently one story of somebody witnessing that, which we might talk about next week.
All right. Where do you guys want to start with dogmen's?
Well, first of all, it's most commonly known for being sighted in Michigan because that's where the supposed first documented sighting happened in Wexford County.
Yep.
And I'm just going to say this. Towards the end, I'm going to explain the confusion I have on the validity of this claim.
Ooh,
And
that is fair.
we'll get into it
That is fair.
a little bit later if the topic comes up in conversation as we go on here. So yeah, Wexford County, Michigan. We'll get into it a little bit here.
But what are these? We described a little bit of what these dogmen look
Mhm.
like, but what are some of their features? How do I know I'm looking at a dogman?
Well, there's 2 types of dogmen.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
So one of the first websites I visited when I was doing my research for this is dogmenencounters.com.
Oh.
By Vic Cundiff.
This guy has quite the following. Like over 200 episodes of his own radio show, hundreds of eyewitness accounts. He offers his services as like an ear to listen. If you
Oh.
don't necessarily want to be on his radio show, but you have encountered a dogman, you can contact him. But yeah, this is where I found the information on the 2 different types of dogmen. They are distinguished basically just by their feet. It's their canine type and type 3. So in general, a dogman is this. I mean, it's kind of obvious just how you say it.
The canine type is an on all fours dog, and was a type 3 is basically a Bigfoot
Well,
looking
Kind
type
of.
thing.
not even necessarily. The canine type can walk on its 2 back legs.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference is in like what the legs actually are. Canine types have canine type legs, so they have hocks instead of ankles and stifle joints instead of knees, while the type 3 kind of have like humanish legs but are furry.
They're furries.
Yeah.
And there's all the categories of what furries are.
Oh gosh, that's
That's
something else, guys.
That'll be part 3. Dogmen, werewolves, and furries. What's the difference?
So in general, I've got that they're like 7 feet tall, blue or amber-eyed, canine-like animal with the torso of a man and a fearsome howl that sounds like a human scream. And I heard some of these audio recordings.
Oh yeah, they're scary.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But it's weird because, like it says in the description, like they can sound human-ish, and like it's weird. It's creepy.
That's like we were talking about skinwalkers can imitate voices.
Yeah.
But don't wendigos do that too sometimes?
I think so.
Yeah.
That's pretty sketch.
It's like that weird. Goatmen do it.
Yeah.
That's man, like.
A side note: while I was listening to Dogman Encounters this morning, found out about this guy named. He has a YouTube channel called Yowies Down Under. It's about Australian Bigfoots. And he has one audio recording of a supposed Yowie. They're like doing the calls or whatever, and this thing screams out, "What's your name?"
Yeah.
And it's like, it doesn't sound like a person. It doesn't exactly sound like "What's your name?" But like you can still make it out.
Sounds like an animal talking.
It's really scary.
Ooh.
I had it in my car and I blasted that. I was like, I need to hear this. And I was like, ah!
Everyone else at the red light heard it too.
But yeah, so let's dip in.
So we're talking so Wexford County, is it 1887? Is that the source or the first report we're going with?
Yes.
Oh, we're going into the reports.
Yeah, for the Michigan Dogman.
Oh, all right, let's do it.
And 1887, first reported incident. 2 lumberjacks were sawing logs, and then they saw a man dog show up, and then I think it hid in the log, right? And they tried to get at it, and it howled and hooped and hollered and ran off into the night.
Yeah. And that's about all the info we have on it. Like, these lumberjacks saw this thing, chased it into a log, poked it with a stick.
Yeah, that's right.
Trying to get it to come out.
Did they really?
Yeah.
And then it came out and stood on its hind 2 feet, and they were like, "What?" And then they ran away.
You done poked the wrong dog, man.
Uh-oh. Then what happened?
And then they got pancakes.
I've got a 1937, Paris, Michigan.
Yes.
A guy named Robert Courtney was attacked by 5 wild dogs and said that one of the 5 walked on 2 legs. And then reports of similar creatures also came from Allegan County in the 1950s and in Manistee and Cross Village in 1967.
Ooh.
Oh, that's a lot of
And
numbers.
these are all in Michigan.
A lot
Yeah,
of
speaking of
dogs.
numbers, did you guys read about the
10-year
legend
cycle?
of... Yeah. Go ahead.
So if I can understand it from what I read, and you could probably clarify this, they show up every 10 years for a 10-year cycle on most years starting with a 7.
Ending with a 7.
Ending with 7, what did I say?
You said starting with.
Yeah, so
Every 7.
yeah, so every year ending with a 7, they show up for 10-year cycles, like it, and then they go and sleep for a while, hibernate, and then come back again.
So like 2017?
Yeah. Ooh.
Is that the most recent?
Yeah, it would have been.
Whoa, I know where I'm going 2027.
Ooh, Michigan.
Just kidding.
Get some deep dish pizza.
The
Watch
only
some Dogmans.
the thing about that 10-year legend is there's sightings. There's plenty of sightings that have occurred in years that don't end in 7. So, I mean, that's just part of the legend, part of the folklore. But I don't know how much truth there is to it.
Yeah.
Probably got started by an old fisherman.
It gets started by a guy trying to sell calendars. The Dogman calendar.
There's a researcher named Anna Larson. I don't know if you guys read about her. She came up a couple of times in my research. She actually created a map that shows where numerous Dogman encounters have happened And then back on Vic's site, dogmenencounters.com, there's a whole list of every state and then the counties that have had those sightings, and you can read about them from firsthand eyewitnesses. So this is happening a lot, all over the place.
Who let the Dogmen out?
Who?
So that's Michigan.
And I don't really have any other stories for any other sightings except just a quick note. Encounters have been reported inside the city limits of Cincinnati, Dallas, Chicago, Columbus, and other large cities. For some reason, lots in Ohio.
Ooh, have you seen a Dogman?
I have not seen a dog.
Whoa, how many? What did they look like?
Did you pet them? Were they shaggy dogs?
Maybe. But yeah, they're happening all over the place, guys.
They chase after the melon heads and the blue granadas. Just a roving pack of dogmen.
That would be a cool movie. Why do dogs chase cars? And it's about dogmen chasing the melon heads and
the blue granada.
I have some first-hand eyewitness accounts from Linda S. Godfrey. I've talked about her on here before.
You have, which I thought was really funny. Well, not really funny, just interesting, because I've heard her name mentioned in previous episodes that we've recorded, and then when I saw her name come up in this research, I was like, oh, look at her.
Yeah.
The one and only.
She's kind of a big name in the crypto community, or cryptid community, not cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
That's not what we're about.
She's also into cryptocurrency, though.
I debated emailing her because I read an article that had her email address, but I didn't know what to say, so I didn't email her.
Oh, we should all
Sorry,
email
that
her.
was
should
a
do
little,
it. We
little
should
bit of a
Cryptid
letdown.
Campfire.
I'm so down.
Yeah.
I'm so down.
Ooh, maybe we can get a reply and read it.
So, here we go. So I have one from our home state of California,
Okay.
1993 in Corona, which
I
is
was one.
I was -5.
I was 3.
So we have, congrats. by the way.
Thank you.
So we have two
Long
high
time
school
coming.
2 high school kids, which are obviously older than either of you or any of us, because they were in high school in 1993.
Yeah.
Anyways, 2 high school kids. They're
Two-
walking from their car to the house, and it's around 11 p.m. or 10 p.m. at night, and they live in this wooded golf course community, so you know they're rich.
Ooh.
Sorry. I played golf for 3 years in high school.
You did?
I did.
Oh no.
And I know all about those wooded golf communities.
Yeah.
So I have a grudge against them. Anyways, so these little golfer kids, they're walking, and they notice something about 3 houses down on the roof of the house. And it's like, they describe it as a big black shape, but it's standing up on 2 legs, and the second kid gets out of the car and he goes, "Hey, what the hell is that?" And that's when it turns and it looks at them, because he hears the yell, and it starts jumping from roof to roof.
Ooh.
Until it's out of sight.
Parkour.
Hardcore parkour. How now, brown cow.
Ooh.
And then they run inside, and that was that story.
Oh dang. Have you guys ever seen Krampus?
Yes.
Have you seen it? There's
It's a good movie.
There's an awesome scene to where one of the characters goes out and it's like a snowstorm, and they look. I think it's like 3 houses down. They see a shape, and it notices them, and it's Krampus, and he starts jumping from roof to roof as they start running towards their house.
Terrifying.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What?
That was
Ooh.
crazy.
Oh my gosh, I just got the crap scared out of me. Okay, so the winds are really, really strong right now here in California. And there's like a tree right up against the window that's behind my back. And it like just whammed up against it. It whooshed really bad.
And
okay, it's fine.
The craziest thing too is last week Eli had that tree removed.
No, he didn't.
What a story.
Oh, what a story, Mark.
Anyways, back to the Dogmen.
I have this one, and this is my favorite one. This is the reason why I wanted to do this episode, was for this one encounter.
Okay.
And it takes place December 1st, 2012.
Okay.
So fairly recent. So it's noon, overcast day. It's cold. So it's this couple. It comes from this couple, and they're doing cross-country skiing,
Mm-hmm.
of all things. And they were about to ski across a field when they noticed a large wolf standing inside the tree line. It's on its all fours, though. It's just a really, really large wolf.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all black. And what freaks them out about it is that it's standing there and it's watching them. Like, it's got its eyes on them as they move across this field. And so the husband, he gets nervous, as they both do, and he takes out his .22 rifle and he aims it at the ground just in front of the wolf, and he shoots in hopes to scare it away.
Mm-hmm.
But it just looks at the mark and looks back up at them and starts growling
Yeah.
really loud. And so she said that the look on the creature's face gave her chills. And then the husband fired again at the tree next to the wolf. And then after about 30 seconds after that, it stands up on its two hind legs, resting its paw on the tree that the husband just shot.
Ooh.
Just chilling, taking it
And
in.
they said when it stood up, it was about 7 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
And they say it begins moving its jaws up and down like it's gnashing its teeth.
Yeah.
And the growling's getting louder. So the husband shoots 3 times into the wolf's chest,
Mm-hmm.
and it darts off into the woods howling. And they start running back to their car. But as they're running to the car, they can hear it coming after them.
Yeah.
And so as they're getting to the car, she has her cell phone in her hand, and she's thinking about taking a picture of it. And then she says she gets this feeling that's coming from the creature that's if she takes out her phone and takes a picture of it, they will die.
Ooh.
So she said it was so powerful that she lost control of her bladder and shoved the phone into her pocket.
Oh. Okay.
And they just like
You thought that was going somewhere
Yeah,
else.
I was like, oh dang, this took a turn.
so yeah, that's that story. It
Okay.
just-
That's wild, man.
I
Yeah.
have something similar to that because you were just mentioning that she got this feeling from the creature.
Right.
So like this idea of telepathy
Mhm.
that dogmen have. I read a story from a woman. It didn't give her name in the article, but she claims she had been out hiking in the mountains in New Mexico with her, I forget if it was her husband or her fiance or something like that, but this other guy was with her. And they were hiking, and they encountered a bear. So this was a bear. They saw a bear,
Mm-hmm.
and the bear ran off into the woods. But then she noticed that there was a strange creature alongside the bear as it ran away. And she was like, what is that? Let's get a closer look. It was this hunchbacked creature that was gray, purple, and dark brown. And so when she wanted to get closer, she said something told her to stay back. The feeling in her gut was like a slight punch, almost like a nauseating feeling. And it affected her heart rate, and her adrenaline was racing and all this stuff. But she didn't get any closer. Her and her boyfriend, fiance, husband, whoever it was. I didn't take down the exact note, unfortunately. So they went home. But after she got home, she says she maintained a psychic connection with this entity.
Whoa.
And he calls himself Tulak.
Whoa.
And he relayed interesting information to this woman. The most obvious being that dogmen don't think like humans. She said that they understand their place in the forests and they don't put out their threatening stance to other animals in the forest except when they hunt. And as far as how they interact with each other, Tulak says that they have an understanding with each other. He prefers his solitude and said he particularly didn't stay with any group but knew where the rest roamed. He was obviously intelligent beyond just a beast in the woods. And he said that he distrusted people extremely, which apparently is what most cryptids do, according to this information, this source. Tulak also said that he and the large brown bear that she saw that day are like best buds.
Oh.
And they like hang out in the forest together all the time.
Go on wacky adventures.
Sorry for the cough.
Tight.
And then she said that people put human issues and temperaments onto other creatures and beings that have nothing to do with them at all. So she claims to have to like be buddy buddy with this
This Tulak.
It's
Tulak.
Hmm.
But I kind of agree, because I think most animals are skittish of humans.
Mhm.
For a good reason, though, because most of the time...
I mean, we only have, hundreds of millions of years of
Right.
showing that we like to kill and maim everything
Yeah,
that
exactly.
we find.
It's like, it's almost like genetic at that point. It's like,
Mhm.
stay away from humans.
Yeah.
You know? Especially if this thing is intelligent enough to communicate
Yeah.
telepathically.
Mhm.
You know, it's like, of course it would know to stay away.
There's another guy who calls himself Zay that claimed he was in regular contact with the Dogman in the forests of Pennsylvania.
Whoa.
Zay has said that these creatures are not violent in any way, and although they are frustrated and displeased with humankind, aren't we all? They hold no ill will or hatred for us. So, interesting that these two or three stories of telepathy between dogmen. I mean, I guess the story you told was kind of threatening,
Mm-hmm.
and these two aren't as much.
Well-
But in all of the stories, in all of the encounters that people have had, who was it? One of the researchers, I think it was Godfrey. Yeah, Godfrey said witnesses are usually scared to death by the creatures, but after 20 years of receiving reports, she can't cite one serious injury from any alleged encounter.
That's what Vic said also.
Mm-hmm.
He said that it seems like these things are more territorial.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because there's a whole lot of... I don't know how far you've dived into it. I didn't dive into it this week while doing research, but I have in the past where it's like Dogmen versus Bigfoot,
Mm-hmm.
where they're competing over territory.
Yeah.
And just like... they don't want to lose territory. You know,
Yeah.
there's territory animals, like, I mean...
They-
You have tigers whose territory is like a 2-mile radius,
Mm-hmm.
you know, or possibly bigger, I think.
Yeah.
And it's like they'll kill anything that comes into their territory.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's not like they're out to kill you, but it's like if you step into its territory, you're not threatening.
Yeah,
you're
know,
a threat.
Someone walks into your house, starts stomping their feet, and making a mess everywhere.
Right.
You're gonna get a little angry.
Right? They're like,
Yeah.
oh man, this looks like a good place to take a piss, and they
Yeah.
start peeing on your kitchen table. It's like, what
Whoa.
are you doing, dude?
Yeah. So the general consensus with dogmen is that they're not attackers. They're not people. They're not creatures.
They look like dogs, talk like people, dog people.
They aren't creatures that are out to harm or attack. Like you said, they're just territorial. They're not like skinwalkers who are going
They-
to come and get you.
Right.
They creep on people sometimes though. I found a few stories where people were sleeping and they hear a noise and they look up at the window and there's just a dog staring at them and they smile a lot and kind of creepy, kind of weirdos.
Weirdos.
So that's like I found like a recurring theme of just like people waking up to dogmen staring at them through the window.
Yeah.
I guess we could talk about, you mentioned Linda S. Godfrey, how she got involved with dogmen
Yeah.
is The Beast of Bray Road.
Yeah. She wrote a whole book on it.
Yeah.
Which I have not read yet.
Yeah, we keep finding all these wonderful books by these people that we haven't read yet.
Yeah.
We got time for that.
Probably aren't going to read either.
Yeah,
I'm gonna read it.
I'm just being honest.
Give me the cliff notes.
I like Linda Godfrey.
Yeah?
She's kind of
You like Linda Godfrey, or you just
No.
like her?
No, guys.
Eli's got a celebrity
I-
crush.
Guys, stop. Just like friends.
Colleagues.
But yeah, I guess the Beast of Bray Road could be another Dogman.
I didn't actually read anything about it. I kind of skipped over that.
I figured we could cover that in an entirely different episode.
Oh,
that's
okay,
all. That's
yeah.
a thing all on its own.
Yeah,
Oh,
what
is
the
it?
heck? Sorry,
Alright.
Beast of Bray Road, get the hell out. You're getting your episode later.
Until next time.
Yeah.
I did have a funny point that I found during my research, which it's kind of TMI, but it's actually kind of funny too. So in the past, we've talked about like animals and their anatomical.
Features.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Chupacabra
Yeah.
has no.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh, man.
I read a funny article this person wrote who pointed out that we've never heard a description of dogmen where any sort of external, parts.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm sure it's
were
covered by
mentioned.
hair, right?
Right, but
Hopefully.
but they make the point that these things are seen walking on their back two legs, so one would think that this anatomical detail would be easy enough to spot.
Right.
But it's not, so maybe dogmen are actually dog women.
ladies.
Well,
Yes.
have you ever seen a gorilla penis?
Oh? Oh,
No, I bring this up for a
Oh,
very
oh.
specific reason.
oh, okay, I would
Because-
hope so.
Because here we go.
That's how you meet people. Hey, you
That's
ever
his
seen a
icebreaker.
gorilla penis?
This is
So-
icebreaker. He's at the club. There's someone across the room he wants to talk to. He walks up, shoots that line. Have you ever seen a gorilla penis? Walks away. Nope, don't want to.
For all those men out there, you do not want a gorilla penis because they're actually pretty small.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, just large penises belong to whales. So,
Where did this go?
Yeah,
okay,
you know,
wait, here,
This is my own fault. I
this is-
brought this up.
surprisingly, yes.
The point I'm trying to make here is that
Just because we don't
It's
see
not
it doesn't
ne-
mean it's not there.
it's
Yeah.
on other animals, they're smaller. Like gorillas, you
I-
would think.
I mean, the thing too is, since we're getting this territory, we're all grown-ups around here.
Are we?
I would hope so.
I kind of regret bringing this up. It was just supposed to be a fun fact. and
Yeah,
now
it was
we've
a
gone
fun
into
fact
the-
that's now the
into
entire
detail.
episode. They are dog men, and dogs have penises that are inside their body until it's time to come out.
That is also true.
So that's the thing too. Is
I learned
Oh.
more than I wanted to today, and I only have myself to blame.
it's true. Hey, knowledge is power.
Anyway.
But I mean, you know what? What
All
the
true
heck?
facts. Good points. Guys.
Yeah,
Good points.
there's a lot to talk about. But I mean, it's a funny fact. It's very funny. Wolf women, you
Mhm.
know.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, dog women.
I'm sure those exist too.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe.
where'd Tulak come from? He's got to have a mama and a dada.
Maybe.
Or maybe he's just a person.
Maybe he's just a man in a suit that was talking to this lady.
Never mind.
Ooh, no.
Oh no.
I kind of zoned out for a second, but then I heard you say man in a suit, and it just reminded me of this point that I read when I was doing my research, talking about the way that dogmen walk upright. Like, it's not possible for a person to replicate the way that a dog would walk on its hind two legs,
Mhm.
like these creatures do.
Mm.
Because they got weird joints.
Yeah.
They're
Popping and locking in all the wrong places.
yeah. I'm gonna bring up this random point because I don't know how to bring it in.
Okay.
I went to Reddit. I found a bunch of BS, but I also found this one Redditor who said the dogmen around Crater Lake are feisty,
Yeah?
and I looked up Crater Lake.
Did you find the Crater Lake Monster?
I did, but I also found a bunch of missing 411 accounts,
Oh.
and I think that may have something to do
A bunch
with
of what? I'm sorry?
missing 411.
I don't know what
For
that
those
is.
who don't know, and I would like to cover this in a future episode, is it's accounts of children going missing in national parks
Mm-hmm.
and just vanishing without a trace. Sometimes they come back, other times, I think most of the times they don't,
Mm-hmm.
and they it could be anything. It could be UFOs. Some people say Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, dogmen.
Maybe the staircases that show up in national parks,
Yeah,
too?
you're talking about that. Totally weird phenomenon. It's also possible in a very sad reality that they could have been abducted by somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Or it was Yogi Bear.
or it was Yogi Bear.
Mm-hmm.
So it really could be anything. We don't know. But I think it's interesting that there are dogmen around Crater Lake,
Mm.
and that the fact that there's the exact same Crater Lake, not a different named Crater Lake,
Yeah.
but it's the same one.
Not like Goatman, to where
Yeah, yeah,
everything has the
every-
same
everything has the same
name
name.
and that spans 3 states.
Right.
It all takes place in Fort Worth, Michigan, Texas, and Alabama.
Do we want to talk a little bit about the origin of where these creatures might have come from now?
Ooh,
So
yeah.
I wanted to do that in the beginning, but we went straight into sightings.
I know. I had
Yeah,
a feeling that's what you wanted to
we
do,
went
but
for
Alex,
the meaty chunks of it all.
Alex
All
just
right.
went right into it.
I have more sightings, but we'll get into that
Okay.
later.
Yeah.
Well, there's quite. This is where things get a little confusing and frustrating for me,
Okay.
personally.
All right.
Before I explain that, I just wanted to make this note that I read on Vic's site about how in Egyptian hieroglyphs, Anubis, he makes a point that maybe dogmen have existed for these thousands of years, and people just didn't know what they were looking at, so they figured that they were looking at an evil entity from the underworld. And I just wanted to say that because I wanted to tell everyone that my favorite movie is The Mummy from 1999 with Brendan Fraser, and if you haven't watched it, you should go watch it. I watched it last night. Okay, moving on.
Yeah, and watch the unedited trailer for The Mummy with Tom Cruise, where they forgot to add sound in it except for his yelling when the plane crashes.
Ridiculous.
Ah! I want to be the loud one in this episode. Jasmine gets all the fun.
Apologies to anyone who listens to our podcast with earphones or earbuds or headphones. Those are all the same thing, different words, I guess.
The Walkman, if you will.
I have recently realized how loud I can be, and I am actively trying to not do that anymore. I apologize. I realize that it's a thing. I'm trying hard to keep my distance from the mic. I'm aware of it. I'm sorry.
For the record, I've been telling her. I told her twice.
It's a known fact. I know. Just because I know it's something I need to work on doesn't mean that I can do it right away. Okay.
I mean, that's the fun thing, too, is because we're learning as we go along how to do proper podcasting.
I still have no idea what I'm doing.
Okay, so origins. We mentioned the possibility of them just existing for thousands of years.
Just
being
hanging
seen
out
by the Egyptians and things like that. It's also possible that they've been around since the days when the Ottawa tribes lived in Michigan.
Whoa.
Was that a transition? Well.
No, I said whoa.
Oh, you said whoa. Okay. Where's that?
What time would that be?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
That would be good information to have, but I don't have that.
Oh, I actually have stuff on this.
Okay,
Ooh,
good.
what you got?
I would figure that you did.
I totally forgot that I had it. Because I kind of, because for the research I just kind of.
Anyway.
Have you guys pulled up the cynocephaly?
Mm-hmm.
I do not know what that is.
All right, here we go.
Why did you come? Are you Australian now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
5th century BC.
Good times, man. Good times.
The Greek physician Ctesias, I have no idea how to say that, in his Indica, which is a book, not weed.
Oh, hey, man.
Wrote a detailed report on the existence of cynocephaly in India. This is a race, a tribe, if you will, of dog people who hunt. They're not they had agriculture. They had animals. They also hunted.
They had their own civilization.
Like a whole civilization. They were considered a civilization, but they lived in the mountains of India. Greek traveler Megasthenes claimed to know of these dog people. There's also a couple more references to these mountains in India that house the dog people, which I think is pretty interesting. Do you have any more on that?
Just Alexander the Great even claims to have fought them.
Whoa.
Yeah, there's a report where
he wanted to get the Yeti too, right?
Yeah, he was going all the cryptids. But cynocephaly, if you want to break down that word, cyno, which is Greek for dog. Okay. And cephaly, which is Greek for disease of the head.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So maybe they just had some sort of disease.
Yeah, or is evolution.
Evolution,
mate. But yeah, man, cynocephaly, they're dope. And they're it's crazy too because heavily tied to early Christian stories is a lot of dog-headed people showing up and acting the fool.
Christopher.
Yeah, old Saint Christopher. This guy is awesome.
Yes, he is.
If you want to, we can get into it. If you want to start it off and.
Sure. I mean, there's a bunch of different versions of the story. I got it. They have a Greek version of the story from the 6th century, then a French story by the 9th century. Yeah. And they also have 11th and 13th centuries. The most popular being the most latest one, the 13th century. This is also exclusive to the Eastern Orthodox Church,
Mm.
which there's one down the street. So we
Hey.
should all go ask him about St. Christopher.
And ask him about cynocephalies.
Yeah. So, do you
You're making sure the tree's there.
maybe a dog man's looking through
I
the
just
window.
keep looking out because it sounds like it's raining, but it's not.
It's just the wind.
I don't want it to rain anymore. I'm over it.
We live in California. It rains twice a year.
Yeah, pretty much. So, did you have any more basic information on Mr. Christopher
Well,
here?
Saint Christopher. There's the story that he himself was a cynocephaly.
Right.
He was a dog-headed man. Some say he was captured by the Romans from Libya. Because I guess Libya shows up a lot as either knowing a lot about dog-headed people or they're like from there and or India. I don't know geography, so I don't know where Libya is. That
Let's pull it up.
is it in like the Middle East?
That's what I want to say.
Yeah.
Libya.
But while you look that up, he was captured and converted to Christianity. And then
It's right next to Egypt.
Oh,
It's
okay.
the country to the left.
Anubis.
Ooh, no. Aha. We're cracking it together. But he was captured by the Romans, converted to Christianity, and then he went back and started converting all his other dog-headed brothers. And as a reward, God turned him into a man.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a cool story.
Yeah, isn't that wild?
That's not the one I got.
Yeah, that one's actually from Walter O. Speyer,
Oh, tight.
who was a German bishop and poet.
Aha, I've heard of him.
Yeah.
He was the 11th century.
Yeah, and so I think that his deals with, like, capturing King Christopher and saving him from
Yeah.
being a dog-headed man of menace.
Yeah. The one I got, I'm pretty sure is the most popular version of the story. But, that one, I read that one a long time ago, and I couldn't find it again because that one's so cool.
Yeah.
Just the idea that there's dogmen living in Libya somewhere, and they're all getting captured by Romans.
Yeah, well, it's crazy because we'll talk about St. Christopher, but, like, early stories were like, yeah, there's humans, but there's other races. There's dog people. There's people that there's these creatures that have faces where their stomachs are supposed to be, and they don't have heads.
Teletubbies. Sorry.
Uh,
Those are screens in their stomachs.
The TV.
But yeah, like it was like readily believed that like if you were like, yeah, there's people with dogs for heads, like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
there's more than just humans. Like there's all kinds of other races of weirdo monsters.
Right? So I got this one, which is St. Christopher was originally called Reprobus,
Mm-hmm.
and he was a Canaanite. He was 7.5 feet tall with a fearsome face, meaning he had a dog face. And
He was a butterface.
he served the king of Canaan, and he, like, what he wanted was to serve the greatest king in the world.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, this one's
Yeah.
good.
So when he found that supposed king, he found out that the only thing that king was afraid of was the devil. So he went to go find the devil. And when he found a band of marauders, one of them said, "I'm the devil." And so he started serving this guy. But then he saw that one guy was afraid of crosses. He
Mhm.
saw that, so he was like, "Oh, what's up with this Christ guy? Let me find him." And he found a hermit who instructed him in the ways of the Lord. And then he asked the hermit, he was like, "How do I serve God?" And he was like, "You can pray and fast." And St. Christopher was like, "Nope, can't do that." I couldn't find a reason why he said no.
Hard pass,
It's
man.
just-
Not gonna lie.
So,
I'm on the keto diet, man. Couldn't do it.
So he was like, "Well, I guess you could help people across the river." So St. Christopher is like helping people cross this river because he's like so big he can do it. But one day he helps this kid across the river. He holds him on his back, but the kid is like heavy as lead.
Yeah, oh
Like,
yeah.
He's like the heaviest thing in the world. And then Christopher gets him across the river, and he's like, "Yo, kid, you put me in a lot of danger, because, like, I can't imagine that the world would weigh more than that on my shoulders." And
Yeah.
he's like, "You didn't just carry the world on your shoulders. You carry He who made it. I am Christ, your King."
mic drop.
And then the kid disappeared.
He flew off into the sky.
And then I guess St. Christopher continued shuffling people across the river for some time.
Mm-hmm.
And then decided to go to Lycia
Mm-hmm.
to comfort the Christian martyrs over there. They were getting martyred. But then,
Doing that thing they do.
yeah, the Lycian king was like, let me see this guy. And he said, worship the pagan gods. And St. Christopher was like, no. And then he was like, we'll give you a bunch of money. He was like, no. He's like, we'll give you...
He's like, how about 2 women?
And he had 2 women. And then he comes back and they're converted to Christianity. So then they just order him to be beheaded.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the end of it.
Yeah, and there's another story too.
Okay, wow.
Of
I didn't read any of these.
yeah, St. Christopher's pretty dope because he's all over the place. But there's another story to where he's a giant of among dog people who are also pretty big, but he's like the biggest.
Right.
And it's in the land. It's far off land, and I guess they eat humans and they bark and they run around and pee on everything. And then one day, the Christ child shows up. Baby Jesus is just walking.
Okay.
He's like, "Yo, listen, you dog-headed people, stop these ways. It's not cool. I don't dig it." And St. Christopher's like, "Okay, I'll stop." And he regrets all the people he's eaten, all the trees he's peed on, all the balls he's chewed on. And he gets baptized and his head turns into a human.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man, I gotta tell you, the church has gotten away from stories of dog people showing up and talking to Jesus and carrying him across the river. Like, church has gotten far away from dog people because this stuff is crazy. Also, what's funny is, so you say to yourself, St. Christopher, man with a dog for a head, that's wild. And then you look at like ancient depictions and he's actually got a dog head. This is all because of a typo.
What?
Yeah. So in Latin, the Canaanite is Canius.
Oh, no.
And canine is Canius.
Oh.
There's just like
Just the one letter.
the one
Yeah.
letter off. They're like, there's a Canaanite guy and he's big and he's hurting people, but God saved him and he can save you. And they're like, he has a dog head? Dog-headed man? What? No. That's not the story. What the hell? You know what? If it puts people's butts in the seats, he had a
Let's
dog
do
head.
That's so funny.
But yeah, dude, St. Christopher's pretty wild. Like, there's so much going on, and like the story changes like every century.
Yeah, basically, right.
But yeah, he's the patron saint of dog people, I guess.
I got another. Have you guys heard of adlets?
Adlets.
Oh.
Almost like aglets.
The
but,
little plastic things on the end of the
yeah,
shoelace?
but this is completely different. This is an Inuit tribe of dog people called adlets.
Okay.
Okay.
Also a one-letter difference. Apparently they're from Greenland, and they have the body of a dog but the legs of a man.
Mm.
And I didn't really go much into them,
Yeah.
but they're there.
Okay.
So,
It's interesting. So you said they're Inuit, right?
mm-hmm.
Because there is, let me see real quick. In Inuit mythology, there's this wolf spirit called Amarok. I don't know if you guys got anything. So, when I was researching Dogmen, there is a few articles that are like, so what is a Dogman? What could it be? They're like, could it be a man and a dog put together? Could it be a spirit? Could it be
A skinwalker.
a skinwalker, undiscovered breed? Could it be a prehistoric wolf called an Amarok? I was like, prehistoric wolf? What? So I'm looking. As far as I can tell, there's an Amarok, which is an Inuit mythological creature, but for some reason people just say that it's also a prehistoric real wolf, with no evidence that I could find. So I don't know if it's just a weird typo that people are like copy and pasting in articles.
Maybe it's one of the dire wolves.
Well, that's the thing is like, because there's dire wolves, which are giant extinct wolves, the prehistoric,
Which are right here. We can see their bones.
in the La Brea tar pit.
Yeah.
They lived and roamed all over California and the United States. But in Inuit mythology, there's Amarok, and it's kind of like the god of wolves. It's like this giant wolf that just roams the land, and it feeds on hunters who are foolish enough to go after it.
Whoa, kind of like a black shuck.
Yeah.
Black shuck.
But there's a little bit of another Inuit connection, I guess.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't get any of that.
Mm-hmm. Dude, I got all kinds of madness in my research.
Yeah, that's
My
cool.
favorite wolf is Balto.
Yeah?
Balto!
He's my buddy.
Balto's tight.
We should watch Balto and just do a review of that for one of these episodes.
If you want to see me cry, we can watch Balto. I cry every time I watch that movie. I don't know why.
We'll film it and put it on YouTube.
I don't know
Beautiful, dude.
That'll get you the Oscar.
Let's see.
We're talking about origins. Possible ideas. Especially for the Michigan Dogman. People say that it's the possible roaming spirit of Cheyenne warriors who were slain in battle.
Whoa.
Didn't hear that.
Yeah, because in the 1860s, there were dog soldiers of the Cheyenne Nation.
Where did you guys find all of this?
All over the place.
Okay. Because usually when we come together, we have, like, similar stuff.
Yeah, usually...
I have none of this. And I did my freaking research. I have 7 pages of notes here, okay? I did my research. But it's all different.
Dogmen are, like, real decisive.
That's the great part.
So, the dog soldiers of the Cheyenne Nation, I think is the correct term. In 1860s, they were the best of the best. And they were basically like the kind of Marines. They were real dedicated, and they were so apparently connected to their spirit animals, they could take on the form of their spirit animals, and their spirit animals were always like wolves or wild dogs. And so there's the theory that they were slain, and that their spirits are unrest, and they're running around in their spirit forms.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was kind of interesting.
Wow. So how do I kill one?
You give them pets behind the ear and give them a chewy toy.
I got this from a Redditor.
Ooh.
Use a big gun.
In case of dog.
Valid.
Use big gun.
Shoot it until it's down, then shoot some more.
Right.
Focus on getting away. Don't assume you're safe until you're in a populated area. Dogmen hunt in packs.
Ooh.
If you kill one, the pack will come after you.
Unless you kill, what's his name? Tulak,
yeah. But he doesn't want to be killed.
He's a loner.
He just wants to chill.
I know, but it was out there. They posed that question. I was like, I need to know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, so I guess...
and it was riddled with all those comments, don't do it, I know what you're trying to do. And it's like, what? I think he's trying to kill the Dogman.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is that what they're saying?
Yeah. People.
Or they were saying, don't let the secret out that guns work against Dogmen.
I have no idea. You know, Reddit's a madhouse.
Yeah, it's a madhouse. A madhouse!
So, what have you had?
Are you throwing it to me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Balls in your court.
This is the part where I get a little bit confused, because all of our sources and all of our research tells us that the first documented sighting of a dogman in Michigan was these lumberjacks in whatever year this was. What was
1887.
Okay. But there was a song that exists called The Legend. Did you guys read about this?
Steve Cook, right?
Yes, Steve Cook. Steve Cook was a radio DJ in Michigan, and in 1987, he wrote and played a song on the radio as an April Fool's Day joke.
In what year?
1987. He was a collector of local folklore, and he used bits and pieces from stories and tales that he was familiar with to flesh out this song. This song was completely made up. This was something from his imagination. He claims to have not known anything about dogmen prior to creating this fictional song for April Fool's Day, which makes me say, okay, this song that he claims to be completely from his imagination talks about the lumberjacks who encountered the dogmen in the forest. And all of our sources say this was the first documented sighting, but there's nothing else that proves that. It just comes from this song. He says that he had never heard of anything called the Dogmen before he wrote this song. He told the Huffington Post, "I had no idea that it was already a part of northern Michigan folklore and certainly had no idea that people were seeing it." So after the song aired, he got a bunch of calls from people claiming to have actually seen a Dogman. And so then those listeners prompted others to call in and share, and then stories spread, and the power just flickered, and now I'm freaking out.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Are we still recording?
Yeah.
Are we good?
Yeah.
That was so weird. Okay. So the story spread to like porches and diners, and soon the newspapers began to pick it up. And then there was an animal attack in a nearby town, and so rumors quickly spread that it was the work of Dogman and all this other stuff. So obviously people have seen things. Like, not all of these hundreds and hundreds of things are like fake. But I'm literally confused about how, like, he says he made all of this up, but like people are seeing it, and like the lumberjacks, it's like a coincidence. Anyways, so there's basically two ways to read about, like, to like read into what's happened here. So first, it could just be like a coincidence. This guy just happened to write a song that unknowingly matched the descriptions of an actual cryptid that people were seeing in northern Michigan for over a century. And that's actually what he believes himself, this Cook person. Because he told the Detroit Free Press in 2011, "I made it up completely from my own imagination as an April Fool's prank for the radio and stumbled my way to a legend that goes back all the way to Native American times." So the other possibility is that his song just like kind of became the catalyst for the mass invention of the belief of the Dogmen. So there's always been these campfire stories and tales of like monsters in the woods at night. And they're like all unrelated. They're like scattered. None of them are really true. But then he wrote this song, and all of these stories were kind of brought together and given an identity to gather around. And so that gave the Michigan Dogman like a believable enough stance to like be taken seriously. So I don't know. I just think it's really interesting because this guy was involved in a hoax later too.
Yeah.
The Gable Hoax. It was this video that surfaced in 2007 that supposedly captured the Dogman on camera. It was like home video footage of like a family out in the woods, and then they see this creature, and it doesn't have any sound to it. It's black and white.
Oh,
just like
I
these
think I've seen the stills from it.
Yeah, it's just like clips of like going through the forest and like having a grand old time, and then there's this like creature who's hunched over out in the distance, and then it like charges towards the camera. Camera drops, we see like a fang and a claw and all of this, and everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, this is crazy." But it turns out it was a hoax. And one of the people who was involved in like spreading the video and like getting the video to be seen was this Steve Cook guy who worked directly with the guy who filmed it.
Yeah.
The creator of the film was a Michigan resident named Mike Agrusa, who was a fan of the song that Steve Cook wrote. And because they wanted to like capitalize on the every 10-year cycle that happens in years ending in 7, Mike wanted to do something in 2007 to keep this alive. So he approached Steve Cook to help him by sharing the video on his website. And Cook says, "I'm tremendously skeptical because I've sort of seen the way folklore becomes built from the creation of this song to what it's turned into. But I do believe people who think they saw something really did see something. I also think the Dogman provides them with an avenue to explain what they couldn't explain for themselves." So, I don't know. This whole song just really throws a wrench in things for me.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly hundreds of people have seen creatures that they claim to have seen Dogmen, but I don't know what this guy's angle is. Like, how are you going to say you've never heard of anything like this before, and then you write a song?
It's too spot on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's too spot on. Because I actually listened to the song.
I listened to it.
Yeah, it's a catchy little song, but it's like 2 lumberjacks were da 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 in the year so and so. I'm just like, it's too spot on to be like, oh, I was just thinking about what would it be like if I was to make up a cryptid.
Yeah.
Doghead, lumberjacks. Da, da. It's too many coincidences.
Yeah.
I think one hit wonder. Like.
there is a North American Dogman Project.
Whoa, what?
So
Oh, yeah.
there's like a society of people who are out there in the world exploring and researching the Dogmen. I thought this was actually really cool because
Whoa.
there's a lot of recent stuff
How do I find them?
coming. It's NorthAmericanDogmanProject.com.
Oh.
They have the little
What?
map.
Yeah.
Google's listening.
Huh?
As soon as I typed in North, that's what came up.
No way.
I'm not even joking.
Dude,
Google, you're getting too weird.
Google
Stop,
knows you.
stop listening to
But
us
yeah,
as much, Google.
their website's actually really cool. They have a ton of graphs about like where sightings occurred,
Mhm.
time of day sightings occurred, time of year, season, or time of year
Yeah.
sightings occurred.
They have sightings by occupation.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So they say the goal of the NADP is to gather as much information about the creature phenomenon known as the Dogman. We seek to unite researchers and investigators in one common goal, and that is to organize, network, research, and report. So their member count as of March 22nd, 2018 is 525 people. They have lots of newspaper clippings and evidence on their website. They've got like 3 supposed audio recordings of Dogman howls and screams, which are all from different parts of Ohio, what they have listed on their
Oh,
website.
Wow.
They have a couple of videos and photos as well, but a plethora of eyewitness drawings and art. Their newest research update is from January 2019. They were sent photos of some monstrous tracks that were found in Nevada, and as of that last update, they didn't really have any further information because they were trying to get people out there to get feet on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's really cool because you can, like, I don't want to necessarily say apply, but you can, like, register to be a part of this group.
Yeah.
You do have to, like, list your experience and, like, the equipment you have and, like, the tools and stuff. But I just thought it was really cool because there's plenty of, like, quote, societies that exist in the cryptozoology network of, like, people who are dedicated to a certain cryptid.
Mhm.
But I didn't think Dogmen would be like obviously there's tons of Bigfoot hunters and, like,
Right.
Sasquatch groups and stuff like that. But, like, the Dogman is a pretty popular cryptid, like, and it's not one that I had heard of before.
Right.
Like, I'd heard of werewolves, which we'll talk about next week, but, like, Dogmen, never heard of. But there's this entire, like, population of people who are out there actively hunting and trying to find proof of them.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You know what's crazy? So,
I don't know what's crazy.
oh, well, I'll tell you what's crazy.
Oh, okay.
There's different breeds of dogs.
Mm-hmm.
You think there's other breeds of dog men?
I think
Of
so.
course, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What if there's Chihuahua men?
Whoa.
That's
Like-
nightmare fuel.
Yeah.
That
Imagine
is.
a Chihuahua
a
standing
chi-
on its hind 2 legs
like
coming at
little
you.
Chihuahua men, and there's like big Mastiff men.
And it's sending you those signals. If you take out your phone, I'm gonna kill you. And
Yeah.
it's like a tiny little.
No photos, please.
Speaking of photos, though, I went to the NorthAmericanDogmanProject.com
Oh,
Mhm.
and I
damn.
found this photo, and
Ooh.
I don't know how to explain.
Yeah?
But it's taken in California, redwoods.
Ooh.
Is it if it's a photo I looked at? Can you flip your laptop around?
can't.
Show me.
It's
What'd you look up?
Here, I'll just.
Or
Go,
pull it up on your phone. Let's see this man dog.
Because there's some pictures on that website that reminded me of pictures that you've shown me from your little Facebook group.
Oh.
it's this one.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Ooh.
That's a picture that they compare to, because there's people who say that this is a bear, but
Yeah, and
it
right
doesn't
below
look
it,
like a bear.
it does not.
Let's see. Yeah, it definitely looks. It's too thin, I think, to be a bear.
Mm-hmm.
And the ear, it looks like it has pointy ears too. If like the ears on top right there and the little face. Ah, it's cute.
Yeah, for anybody who's listening to this and finds this information interesting, be sure to visit these 2 websites that we've mentioned today because they're pretty active. They have lots of following. Like they're not like the Skyrod's website. We saw.
Yeah.
These are like active, updated websites.
What's the websites again?
So it's North American Dog Project or North American Dog. What is it?
Dogmanproject.com?
Sorry.
No.
And then the other one is dogmenencounters.com.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
those are 2 really good websites.
Yeah.
Also, check out Linda S. Godfrey. She writes a bunch of Dogman books.
Yeah.
yeah, she's got like a bunch of like werewolf information and books and things like that.
She actually, she doesn't believe in werewolves.
Mhm.
She only believes in dogmen,
Yeah.
which I think is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's pretty wild. Dogmen. Interesting. Would you say we have any more info you want to throw out there about the dogmen?
Let me
Anything
just
you'd like
scroll
to
through
say?
real quick.
I think I'm ready to move on.
Let me just go through my notes real quick and make sure.
We're going to Bendy, girl.
What?
What? No, what?
All right, so we covered that.
Let me see.
Oh, I found there was this interesting note,
Uh-oh.
which I always think is funny when they talk about where dogmen are found, or like where any cryptid is found. They like to show up in the vicinity of water. They're also seen in cemeteries, abandoned buildings, and at crossroads.
Mm. Like goatmen. I think goatmen show up around that too.
Yeah.
Goatmen, dogmen. What's next? Chicken men,
Bigfoot men,
Bigfoot men, chupacabra men,
Loch Ness Monster men, Dogmen men.
icy wiener men. So, when we were looking up dogmen, I was doing research and I found like it runs the gambit of madness.
Okay.
But I think I found my all-time favorite
Oh no!
type of madness.
Oh
This
dear.
has got a callback to one of our all-time favorites. So, I'll read you. I found this message board. No, the dogman is not a werewolf. The concept or history of werewolves is based in imagination, creative folklore, whereas the dogman of Wisconsin is an actual creature from another reality. What we call a dimensional window faller.
Dimensional window faller?
Yeah!
What?
Because we talked about windows open up and things
Right.
fall out, but when you call it a dimensional window faller,
I don't like
That
that.
just sounds clumsy.
sounds like a bumbling dumbass.
Sounds clumsy.
But many individuals who have encountered or been attacked by this creature, the dogman, recall after being attacked, seeing this creature escape by entering a portal or simply dematerializing. Which I didn't find in any of my accounts.
Yeah, I didn't find any of that.
So already, like, this is, it gets even better.
Okay.
Now,
This is just some guy.
this is some guy on some forum. They were talking about werewolves and dogmen, what's the difference, and he
Okay.
came in,
Okay.
with the smackdown. Now, the chupacabra is also a creature that dwells in two different realities,
Oh no.
but is not natural to that of other environment, as this creature is genetically engineered by the Greys and reptoids,
Okay.
using the mixture of genes from earth animals such as kangaroos, mosquitoes, vampire bats, and Zeta Gray DNA.
Zeta Gray?
Yeah,
What is
Aliens?
that's a mixture of earth animal genes. So you have kangaroos, mosquitoes, vampire bats, and Zeta Gray DNA. Zeta Grays.
What are Zeta Grays?
Aliens.
Yeah. Come on, get with it, Eli.
I think it is an alien.
I think
'cause
so.
It's a gray.
And then finally, we have the mystery of the chupacabra solved. The purpose behind the creation of the chupacabra originally was ... to create a distraction for humans to focus on, as at that time there was a rather large amount of UFO sightings occurring, and the group that oversees the alien presence needed to take away the public's focus and determination to know what is happening and where all these alien craft are coming from. So the greatest diversion in ever was the chupacabra.
Oh my goodness. That really. How did we get from that story, from Dogman to I don't know.
That's my research. It's all over the place. I was worried about this episode going into because
Well, now I gotta
nonsense.
I gotta post on Reddit now and figure out how I can become a dimensional window faller.
Yeah. From now on,
Hashtag career goals.
cryptids will now be renamed Dimensional Window
Window
Fallers.
Yeah, sorry guys, we're changing the name of the podcast.
Dimensional window faller
faller
campfire.
Oh, boy.
Brought to you by Reptoids and Greys, using the finest Zeta Gray DNA you could find.
Well, I don't have anything else to add.
I think I'm done.
I think we're talking
we're
about
good.
talking about dogmen. We want to thank you for listening as we kind of tracked our way through the histories and the origins and the what have yous of Dogmen, because next week we're talking about werewolves.
Which are similar but different.
Yeah. They are not dimensional window fallers. Thank you for listening, everybody. My name is Alex Daikaiju. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Alex Daikaiju. That's Alex Daikaiju. And if I wanted to find you,
You can find me both on Twitter and Instagram. Username is the same on both platforms. It's my full name, Jasmine Maywith. JasmineMaewith.
And you can find me at EJ Workshop on Twitter or at the Eli Watson on Instagram. That might be a better way to reach me nowadays.
ooh yeah.
So,
And-
yeah.
And we have an
Oh,
Instagram for the Cryptid Campfire.
Yeah,
At
most-
Cryptid Campfire. I do run that, so if you shoot me a message, I'll probably respond. So
Yeah, that's the most important thing that I think sometimes we forget to mention is that Cryptid Campfire literally has its own Instagram and Facebook. So
Yeah.
you can go follow those. Eli runs them, posts funny cryptid facts, sometimes memes, sometimes funny video clips, like that leprechaun one. You see the leprechaun say, "Hey!" But yeah, we hit 710 followers today, which that's kind of crazy. Hopefully all 710 of those people listen to the podcast, but I have a feeling they don't. But yeah.
Of those who do, we thank you very much. It's awesome to have you guys listening. 700 followers, that's a big ass number.
yeah,
That's insane to me, so we really am grateful for all those numbers.
Mhm.
And we'll see you next week with some werewolf action.
Yeah.